So that's an interesting mix. So not too surprisingly, MySQL is very highly represented because a lot of people that we deal with day to day are MySQL users. But it's very nice to see such a big share of PostgreSQL. So that's interesting to see. And of course, MongoDB is very popular as well. Nice to see some Cassandra, and then be curious to see what the others are. So if you'd like to tell us what the others are, feel free to let us know in the question section or in the chat box. It'd be interesting to see what other data stores are being used. Any comments on this, Art?
No, actually, I kind of expected that MySQL and Postgres would be the highest. Not that they're almost tied. Yeah, that's interesting. No, but yeah, it's a shame that we couldn't add more options than 5. Otherwise, I would have loved to hear the number of people stating we are using Hadoop or we're using I don't know what other storage system.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, no systems limitations. So if you want to let us know, feel free, in the, like I said, in the chat box or in the question section. And if you have any questions so far on the content you're seeing, feel free to ask them at any point as well by using the question section of your control panel. There'll be a few minutes at the end of the session where we can go through some questions for sure. But thank you for participating in this poll, and I'll hand back to you, Art, for the demo.
Thank you. So, okay, so we're going to do a short demo on what cluster control is capable of doing. And cluster control is our product, and it's enabling you to deploy, manage, monitor, and scale your environment. For the Polyglot, what does that mean? Well, I'll log in into, oh, wait. Yes. So let me log in into our cluster control environment. And as you can see, there are 4 clusters defined here. And the top one is a MySQL Galera cluster. The second one is traditional MySQL's master-slave relation. Postgres, also a master and a slave. And MongoDB, we have 2 instances that are sharded. So in this sense, cluster control is already a polyglot maintenance platform, and it's allowing you to deploy, for instance, a new cluster. So you can immediately spawn off an existing, and you can immediately spawn a new cluster, or you can import existing clusters as well. So if you already have an environment that is running MySQL, you can easily add it through the interface here. And you can create the other types by first creating a single node. So my single MySQL replication master, a single MongoDB, and a single Postgres master. And by doing that, you already start to benefit from only having one single interface to deploy your polyglot environment. So you don't have to have the domain-specific knowledge on how to install Galera. It's all being handled by cluster control, and the same goes for Postgres, and the same goes for MongoDB. And the nice part is that if your cluster isn't sufficient enough, you can easily add new nodes to Galera in this case, or you could add replication slaves. For the replication slaves, you can really scale your reads this way. Similarly, you could do that with a normal MySQL master-slave relation, where you add another slave into the system and expand the number of nodes in your cluster for reads. And the same for Postgres, and for MongoDB, you get the choice to either do a slave or a shard, add another shard to your write set. So you can really manage your writes by doing this. So you can get more rights. Also, zooming in a bit on a cluster, cluster control allows you to monitor your systems. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel by adding your data to your existing monitoring system, because all the metrics that matter are here. And there's already a pre-selection of important metrics that we monitor for you. We even have a couple of advisors, and I'll get back to that later, that actually watch the metrics going into the system and report back to you that you should perform a certain action. So all these dashboards have been predefined with metrics that do matter on, in this case, Galera, while on another system, for instance, Postgres, there is a different dashboard because different metrics matter for each system. Then we have the same for queries. So queries are being monitored by this system. There are unfortunately no example queries here to show, but the most important part is that there is one single interface that is the same between MySQL, Postgres, and Mongo, and that actually show you that which queries are taking the most resources from your system. And that's either by execution time, but also as a cumulative combined time taken by the queries. And then for performance, there's a whole range of predefined graphs that we have here. And each and every of these graphs are applicable to the Galera cluster that we have. We have the health report showing what for the really necessary actions you should take within this system. And this is obviously different from Galera to MySQL to Postgres to Mongo, because other things might matter to your system. And then there are a couple of other things like the database growth you should keep track of, and other things like MongoDB status. Now we kind of already are in the maintenance part of cluster control, where we get to the backup section. So we can schedule backups here on a recurring basis. So now every day at exactly 12 o'clock, there will be a MySQL dump made to on this node. But more importantly, we get reports on whether the backup was successfully done. And we can look at the output of the backup, or we can even restore the backup to one of the nodes in the cluster, or restore the whole cluster using these backups. So for data recovery, this is really useful, and you don't have to reinvent this for Postgres because the interface is the same and it's always using the same way to recover a node. You can even push your data to S3 in this case. So then you have the offline storage for your disaster recovery plan, and then you can retrieve it back from Glacier again, which is really nice to integrate into your disaster recovery plan, to use one single tool that allows you not only to store it there, but also retrieve it back. On the management side, we also have configuration management, where you actually store your configurations inside cluster control and allow you to change any parameter you like, and then save it back to, for instance, all hosts in the cluster. And then we can change for instance, the number of the temp table size, for instance. So we can now change that to 100 MB. Proceed and change. Oh, something. Let's change the max connections. So that really helps you to manage your own polyglot. I mean, for MySQL, you have to know the specifics. You have to implement, for instance, the myCNF via scripts, or you have to store them offline. Everything here is managed for you, and you can change it, and everything is applied immediately to the hosts. And even better, software upgrades are managed here.